The next entry in the Spidey franchise is Spider-Man No Way Home. However, this time around, there will be many twists and additions that could change the face of the entire MCU. And today we're going to talk about just that, and see just what changes this movie might bring to the table, and how it will affect the entire MCU. Enjoy! Live-action Spider-Verse. We've already taken a first look into things, and more than just a few details are known about the third installment of the franchise coming from Marvel Studios. And this is also the most important rumor that surrounds the movie, suggesting that both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man from alternate universes will come together in the multiverse we're about to see at the end of this year, both teaming up with the most recent addition to the franchise, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. At first, this seems like a pretty tricky concept to pull off, but we should not have doubts about Marvel doing it all according to plan, right? The whole concept could distract the current Peter's MCU arc, but it should prove the best decision about the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. She-Hulk introduction. One of the many beloved Marvel characters in the entire Marvel universe has to be one of the most famous lawyers known in the entire universe, She-Hulk. A character who's also getting her own well-deserved Disney Plus series along with Moon Knight, Ironheart, and Miss Marvel. Jen Welter is the woman on the scene, the lawyer who becomes She-Hulk when she's injured in a shooting and receives a blood transfusion from her cousin, whom we all know and love, Bruce Banner. However, unlike him, Jen enjoys, let's use the term hulkifying, and spends most of her time in the She-Hulk form, while also not having any side effects because of it. She's the lead representative amongst the superheroes who end up dealing with any sort of legal trouble. Thus, we all know that Marvel never misses an opportunity for a crossover, so we might see her in the next Spider-Man movie, representing Peter Parker in court, thus filling her origin story and her joining the MCU ahead of her Disney Plus series. Spidey's secret identity out in public. One of the biggest changes when any superhero is considered will come with the third MCU Spider-Man movie, which will tell a whole different side of his story. The first movie to tell a story that has never been told, and that's the bombshell twist we got in the mid-credit scene from Spider-Man Far From Home, Peter Parker's identity no longer being a secret. We all know that Daily Bugle has outed him as Spider-Man and framed him for Mysterio's London attack, and Spider-Man No Way Home is poised to be a whole different Spidey movie, replacing some of the most standard traits of the movie with new ones, changing the whole field of view by at least 180 degrees. MCU's next It couple. Ever since the beginning of the MCU back in 2008, with its first outing in the likes of Iron Man, Tony Stark and Pepper Potts have been the It couple, and their twisty and complicated romantic arc culminating in Pepper telling a dying Tony, "You can rest now," an explosive emotional climax that left each and every one of us in tears. However, an event that opened a spot for the franchise's next It couple to take over. The Disney Plus series WandaVision turned Wanda Maximoff and Vision into an interesting couple, but it seems like they sadly don't have much of a future together. Tom and Zendaya share a terrific chemistry both on the big screen and offset, and their characters finally got together in Spider-Man Far From Home. Peter Parker and MJ have been an iconic couple for many years in the comics, and that's why they could easily become the MCU's new romantic focal point, making drastic changes in the romantic couple department, while also letting us see a whole different side from the two characters who were very easy for us to fall in love with.
We really have to get out of here, okay?
Okay. Can't believe I figured it out.
Doctor Strange, the new mentor. We're not sure that you know this, but part of Sony's agreement with Marvel to produce Spider-Man solo movies for the MCU is that another renowned hero from the MCU had to appear in the Spider-Man movies in the status of a mentor and lecture the young one. And as we witnessed in Spider-Man Homecoming, this role has fallen into the lap of Tony Stark, and in Spider-Man Far From Home, the title went to Nick Fury, who didn't really count because, as we saw by the end of the movie, that he was a Skrull in disguise the whole time. One of the news that came about the third MCU Spider-Man movie was that Doctor Strange will be part of it, and that in Spider-Man No Way Home, he'll play the mentor role for Tom Holland's Spidey. This and the fact that Doctor Strange has the very Stark-esque characterization in the MCU, it would not be surprising at all if he takes over where Stark left off as Peter's father figure, bringing yet another change in the mix. A big one at that too.
Peter, what's What's going on?
I know this isn't real.
Do you though?
The Sinister Six. One of the biggest threats that Spider-Man has faced in the comics is the group called Sinister Six, with the original members being Kraven the Hunter, Dr. Octopus, Mysterio, Sandman, Electro, and Vulture. However, despite the fact that The Amazing Spider-Man 2 teased the Sinister Six coming together and a Sinister Six movie actually being in development at Sony for a few years, they have yet to make their official appearance on the big screen. As a group, of course. In Spider-Man No Way Home, as Peter Parker's identity is revealed to the world, the anti-Spider-Man supervillains might finally assemble and make their appearance on the big screen. And this is possible because we already know that Alfred Molina's Doc Ock and Jamie Foxx's Electro are appearing, and Spider-Man Homecoming smartly left the Vulture alive, rotting in some jail. And Mysterio, being the illusionist that he is, he's definitely still alive too. The only piece that's missing is where is Kraven the Hunter? And with recent news, him coming to the MCU, we see a possible stage being set for the Sinister Six to finally assemble in the threequel and wreak havoc in the Spidey universe. Or should we say, multiverse. Maybe even prove to be a bigger problem and set their eyes for the entire MCU.
It's not real, it's not real!
Introducing the Fantastic Four. One other thing that could bring a lot of changes with it is the introduction of the Fantastic Four, especially after the news that they're definitely coming to the MCU at a later year. However, it's very unlikely that they'll appear in a Sum 4 in Spider-Man No Way Home. But with Marvel, nothing is impossible. We know that the threequel is taking place in New York, the city where the Fantastic Four live, and the story of the movie seems like it will rip open the multiverse to incorporate previous franchises, a chain of events that would allow a fully formed Fantastic Four team from the 1960s to seamlessly enter the MCU. Detail that pushed us to say, this is the fact that Jon Watts is directing the threequel, the same person who's directing the Fantastic Four reboot. This and also the knowledge that in the comics, Spidey has teamed up with Marvel's first family a bunch of times. This last change might not happen though, because it would spoil things for us as they're getting their own movie sometime in the near future, as it was announced by Kevin Feige in the most recent announcement news coming from Marvel Studios. But still, they might appear in the post-credit scene because Marvel has been known to throw a lot of stuff in the mix. Thus, always keep one eye open for any Easter eggs of sort in the upcoming MCU Spider-Man movie, as there will be a lot of things to track on screen. Many details that will definitely change the look of the entire MCU. On a related note, tell us down in the comments below, what do you think will be the biggest change in this movie when compared to all the previous ones, and why? And also don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.